So before we start, does anybody have any questions about anything?
I do.
Go. Who was that?
This is Brianna. Good morning.
Come on, child.
So I was studying with a friend. Me and Ariana had a question. When we were doing the quiz.
Okay.
Can it be superimposable, like an image, and it not be a mirror image?
Can it be superimposable if it's not a mirror image?
And yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, that's possible. That's that. But if it's a mirror image, then it's not going to be superimposable. Remember, because it's not going to. You're not going to be able to line everything up.
okay. It was
But
just
if
a
it's
question because it was like from I think it was like one of the questions on the quiz, like the response that it gave after you got it right or wrong, it wasn't correct to what the actual answer was.
let me pull it up. I'll take about 2 minutes because I think one of those answers may have been messed up, and I can
Yeah,
fix
it
it.
was I was able to still, get the answer right, but it was like the response, like this my second attempt, I was able to get it right because like the first attempt was like kind of confusing
Let me see.
of like what it was asking.
I'm gonna pull it up. I normally don't do this, but I'm gonna do it because I'll wait like 2 more minutes before we actually start. Let's see. Oh. Which one was it? This one? Do you remember which question?
I believe she's asking the same question I emailed you about.
So it was this one. Yeah, I pulled your email. It's this one, isn't it?
Question, I think it was about we're not at that one.
It was about
relationship
I think it was
between A and
question
B.
5.
configuration.
It was question 5, I think.
Yeah, that's number 5. Yeah. So what's the relationship between A and B if A stereo centers have the configuration RS? So the question is for number 5 is to figure out what the configuration is on B, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let me do this. Let's see if I can. I want to take a screenshot of this because I need to write on it. Because these are Fisher projections, and so there's a way to actually look at them to figure out what's going on, right? So we said it gave you that this was R, and I'm writing with my mouse, so excuse my crappy handwriting. And let me make sure I'm recording too. I think I am. Okay. Yeah, it is recording. Okay, so this thing changes every day.
Stop.
Every day. All right. So it says that these two are RS. It gave us that, right? And
Yes.
hey, let's figure that out though. So would it be an Fisher projection? Let me show you how to. I think I talked about this in the video. So anytime you have a Fisher projection, that's basically like it's going to look like this. That it's crappy because I'm right with my mouse, but this is. Oh, hold up. So you can't see my screen. All right, hold up. Let me do a new share. What about now?
Yes.
Okay. So we got this, right? So a Fisher projection is like basically looking from underneath the carbon, kind of like looking under a car. And so if the carbon is if it's tetrahedral like this, and I'm just going, this is crappy because I can't write. So if it's like that, right? What a Fisher projection is basically looking from this view underneath it, right? So what you're gonna see is 4 groups, kind of like that. Let me erase that little part. right? So in a in a Fisher projection, we're gonna talk about some more of these in a minute. So the two top groups are on a dash. So if you got an atom in the middle, let's say carbon, the two top groups are gonna be on a dash, and then the two outside groups are gonna be on a wedge. Like that. And that's crappy. Please excuse that. All right, you following that? And that's for any carbon, any Fisher projection. So the rule is, since this is the standard conformation where the top and bottom are going back into the screen, and then the two horizontal groups are coming out, right? The way you determine configuration is for a Fisher projection, you prioritize it, and then you find out where the H is. So priority wise, this is my chiral center, and the groups around it, I have iodine, I have hydrogen, I have a carbon right here, and I have another carbon right here. All right. So when I'm prioritizing this, we're going to talk more about configuration today. But when I'm prioritizing this, iodine is going to be. What did I just do? Oh shucks! I have to do it again. That was dumb. All right. So when I'm prioritizing this, iodine is going to be number one. It's going to be highest on this stereo center. Iodine is one, and then between the two carbons here and here, this carbon is going to be 2, and then this carbon will be 3. And then hydrogen is going to be 4. Hydrogen is always the lowest priority group on an atom unless there's a lone pair. The lone pair is the only thing lower in priority than a hydrogen. All right. So far, so good. Yes.
Yes.
All right. So when we prioritize, then we can determine the configuration, right? Clockwise, if the groups are oriented clockwise, right, it's R. If they're counterclockwise, that was off the screen, my bad. Right, if it's counterclockwise, then it's S. R is rectus or right hand, that's clockwise. S is sinister, left hand, counterclockwise. So when we prioritize these groups right here, so 1 is here, is that right?
Yes.
2 is here, and 3 is here. Following?
Mm-hmm.
So when we count to 3, are we counting clockwise or counterclockwise? So 1, 2, 3. That's going this way, isn't it?
Yes,
Counterclockwise. Okay, so now, even though it's counterclockwise, H is on a horizontal position. When that's the case, you got to reverse it, right? So if it's counterclockwise, it will be S, but the fact that H is on a horizontal, we have to say that it's R. That's how we do Fisher projections.
Ew.
If H is vertical, you leave it, right? I always like to teach that by saying if H is pointed up towards heaven, keep it. If it's going horizontal towards hell, reverse it.
Is it always going to be H or just
whatever the lowest priority group?
Okay.
Right. If the lowest priority group is horizontal, you reverse the configuration. So even though it looks like it should be S, the fact that this is horizontal means that it must be R. That's for any Fisher projection. We're going to do more today. So don't worry. Don't panic. All right. Same thing with the bottom. Is everybody clear on the top?
Yes.
All right. Let's do the bottom stereo center. Cause see now, when you have more than one stereo center, that means you have to do that both stereo centers are going to have a configuration, a specific configuration. Didn't mean to erase that. All right, so that's R. On the bottom, this carbon right here is my stereo center. And then I'm gonna prioritize. Nitrogen is 1. Is that right? Because it has a higher atomic number than the other groups. So hydrogen, carbon, and carbon, right? So nitrogen is 1. And I'm only looking at the first atom. I'm not looking at the hydrogens attached. I'm only looking at the nitrogen. That's all I care about. All right, so nitrogen, and then Which of these two carbons do you think is going to be 2? And how would you tell the difference? We talked
The
about
one on the top
the top
would
one.
be 2.
Yeah, because this carbon is connected to an iodine. This one is connected to a hydrogen.
I see this.
So that's the point of difference. Yes?
Yeah.
No?
Mhm.
All right, so that's 1, 2, and then you know this one is going to be 3. And then the H is going to be 4. So now we can count to 3 because we don't care about H. So that's 1, 2, 3. Is that counterclockwise too? Or is that
Yeah.
clockwise?
It's counter.
Counterclockwise, right? So it will be S,
And then you flip it.
Then you
but
flip
then
it.
H is horizontal, so this has to be R. So I think that's the problem in the question because it's R. I think I gave it as RS.
Yes.
Mhm.
So that's the problem in the question. So we'll fix that. And if you got it, I'll actually just put a 3 points extra credit because I think it's worth 3 points. So
Mm.
this is RR. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
So now let's do the other side. All right. So this carbon right here is my stereo center. And then of course this is 1. That's 2. You don't even have to try to reprioritize it because you already did it over here. And that's 3. So what is that?
That's
It's
counter.
counterclockwise, isn't it?
Wait, so
Yeah.
why is the second C3 instead of 2? Because it's attached to nitrogen.
Which one? This one?
Yes.
You said why is it not 2 or why is it 3? I'm sorry. You're right. Hold up. Boom, boom. You're right. This is 2. My bad. I
Yeah.
got too excited. So now that's what? That's clockwise, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is 1, that's 2, and that's 3. You're right. So boom, that's clockwise. So what would it be normally?
It would be R normally, but now it's S.
Now it's S because the H is going to hell, right? It's horizontal. So now this is S. And then on the bottom, let's do the same thing. We're looking at this carbon now, right? So nitrogen is 1. The top carbon up here is 2. And then this carbon is 3. Yes? Is that also clockwise or that's that counterclockwise?
That's
1, 2.
clockwise.
That's counter.
That's counterclockwise. And I'm counting the 3. 1, 2,
Yeah.
3.
It's
That's counterclockwise. But H is horizontal. Is that right? So we're going to reverse it. You following? So the fact that if it's counterclockwise, it would normally be S. But since H is horizontal, we're going to turn it, we're going to change it to an R. So now what's the relationship? This is SR, this is RR. Are they diastereomers or are they enantiomers? And how would you tell the difference? Let's think
They're
about it.
They're not a mirror image.
Not mirror images. Why? Because if B was a mirror image of A, then both of these should be different, right? They both should be the opposite of what's over here,
Right.
right?
Right.
This is RR, the mirror image by default has to be SS. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
But it's not.
That's why it's a die because one
Yes.
of them is
So
different.
now these are diastereomers. I'm not going to try to write this whole word out with this mouse, but they are diastereomers. And put some dots out here. Y'all know the rest. Diastereomers. So now, say that again.
I was gonna say, so with that, basically it'll look the same, but only one of them will be a mirror.
You got only one stereo center will be opposite. Yes.
Okay.
So let me fix that, and it should. But I have that here in the diastereomers. Maybe the explanation is wrong. I might have copied and pasted because I have it here as diastereomers.
Yeah, the feedback says that they're mirror engines.
Yeah, I think I just was being lazy. Copy and paste. What did we say that was? That was RR, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's R.
What are you doing? My computer is a piece of crap, by the way. So stuff that normally would take a millisecond takes like a half a second. Let's see what's in the feedback. They're not. Fix that. Yeah, that's my fault there. Now that's better. And I'll change, if you got that wrong, then I'll give you the points back. Matter of fact, I'll just add 3 points back to the quiz because I think that was worth 3. But they did give us a chance to to talk about Fisher projections, so that's good because we were gonna do that anyway today.
Okay, glad we did.
Yeah.
I was confused.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions? I think that was a good introduction. So we've talked about. Let me go back to my iPad so I can write properly, even though that's pretty crappy too.
Are we also gonna go over pre-existing stereo centers?
Not today. I'm gonna send videos for that today, and we'll do that Wednesday. So
Okay.
don't do that quiz yet, because it's not gonna make sense to you. Hold up.
Wait, but okay.
You already took it?
Yes.
Send me an email so I can reset it for you, because I don't want you to have a bad grade